Hi all, starting the day looking at ordering fractions. We've started fractions yesterday, so we're going to take it now to the next step, which is looking at putting them in order. So when we look at putting them in order, we need to make sure that we are looking at the denominators, that's the bottom of the fraction, and putting and getting it so that we have the lowest common multiple of the denominators. So what's the lowest common multiple of 4, 10, 5, 2 and 4? So the lowest common multiple is 20. So we write down every fraction now has to be out of 20. So now I'm putting these in order. Let's rewrite them as equivalent fractions. I need 3/4 and it needs to be in 20ths. While 3/4 in 20ths, I am timesing 4 by 5 to get a 20. So I times the 3 by 5 and I end up with 15/20. I need to get to from 10 to 20, so I'm timesing it by 2. So 6 times 2 will be 12. So the second fraction is 12/20ths. I need to get from 5 to 20. From 5 to 20 we are timesing by 4. When I times by 4 I get 8, so 2 times 4 is 8. A half in 20ths, well I'm timesing by 10, so it is 10/20ths. And then finally, if I've got a quarter in 20ths, to get from 4 to 20 I'm timesing by 5. So 4 to 20 I'm timesing by 5, so I have 5/20ths. Now we have exactly the same denominators, we have them in all the same size pieces. We can now look at putting them in order. So which is the smallest? Is it 15/20ths, 12/20ths, 8/20ths, 10/20ths or 5/20ths? Well, the 5/20ths is the smallest, so I'm going to cross out a quarter and I'm going to write down that as my first fraction. My next smallest would be 8/20ths, so it would be 2/5. My next smallest would be 10/20ths, which is a half. 12/20ths, which is 6/10. And last but not least, 15/20ths, which is 3/4. So always try to rewrite the fractions as they originally were. So in order from smallest to largest, you have a quarter, 2/5, a half, 6/10, and 3/4. Now, exactly the same. You can do exactly the same in the one that is question 6 below. I find the lowest common multiple of the denominator, which is the bottoms of the fractions. So 9, 3, 2, 8, 6, and 3. Well, the lowest common multiple is 18. So this time I would be writing those out of 18. 18. So now I need to get all of these into 18s. What am I doing with the 4/9? So from 9 to 18 I need to times by 2. So I make sure whatever I do at the bottom I do to the top. So when I times by 2 I get 8/18. Whatever I do at the bottom I do at the top. I'd be timesing by 6. So when I times by 6 I end up with 12/18. Timesing by 9, 9/18. To get from 6 to 18 I'd be timesing by 3, 15/18. Finally, 3 to 18 I'd be timesing by 6. So when I times 1 by 6 I end up with 6/18. So I now have equivalent fractions for all of my fractions. I can look at putting them in order. So when I'm putting them in order, smallest to largest, smallest is 6/18, so that would be 1/3. The next smallest would be the 18/18. 4/9. Next smallest would be the 9/18, which would be a half. The next smallest would be 2/3, which would be 12/18, 2/3. And last but not least, we have 15/18, which is 5/6. So again, I've put them in order from smallest to largest. Now, there's a worksheet there for you to have a go at. Try your best. If you finish the worksheet, there is another worksheet to to complete. Now I want them written down exactly the same way as I've written them down here. So you write down the fraction on the top. Underneath you are going to write down the equivalent fractions, so that then underneath that or next to it you will be able to write down the actual answer. All right, good luck. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day.